Getting a good night's sleep can be much easier said than done, but don't worry because our good friends at CBD MD have exactly what you need to help you unwind and sleep harder than all-star voters slept on Bam Adebayo. Sleep PM bath salts fuse superior CBD and melatonin with a mixture of Epsom, Dead Sea and Himalayan salts to turn any bathtub into a luxury spa experience and give you the relaxation you desperately deserve. And to make it even easier for you to relax, regroup and recharge, they're offering all our listeners 25% off your next order when you use the promo code NBA at checkout. Once again, that's cbdmd.com. The promo code's NBA for 25% off your purchase of superior CBD products from CBDMD. In today's show, I'm looking back at Tuesday in the NBA. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is also brought to you by Locker Room. Download the Locker Room app. Follow me at JoshLloyd48, JoshLloyd48. I'm going to be doing a live show Friday afternoon, I think, at this point. I'll tweet out more details then. You can get in. It's an audio-only social media sports app. Download the Locker Room app today. Guys, let's talk about the action across the NBA, because there was a lot of it. There was only 7 games, but still a lot happened in those games. So let's talk about them now. The first one we look at, the Utah Jazz beat the Boston Celtics 117-109. Rudy Gobert, another strong game.
Rudy Gobert.
16-12 with 4 blocks, while Mike Conley had 17-1-5, and another really poor field goal percentage night from Donovan Mitchell. 21 points, 5 assists, and 3 threes, so the counting stats are good. But over the last 2 weeks, Mitchell is the 111th ranked player because the shot is really falling off. Now, this is, again, he's still never been a top 40 fantasy player. He's 51st this season. The assists have been better, the free throw attempts have been better, but his field goal percentage has been worse, and we're really seeing that create an issue at the moment. Jordan Clarkson matched him, 38% on 16 attempts. He had 20 points with 5 threes. It's good to see more of that volume from Clarkson, though, which had been lacking, while Ingles had 14 and 5. I think Joe is still more of that stream 12-teamer than a must-roster. Not a great night from Royce O'Neal or Bojan Bogdanovic. Bogdanovic had 12 and 6, but 33% shooting. Again, keeps him outside the top 150 this year. Only 19 fantasy points there as well from Bogdanovic, while Royce O'Neal, 6 points, 2 steals, 2 threes. Like, he can be a 12-team league guy. It's very low upside. He's fine. Points leagues, don't worry about Royce O'Neal. Not the guy for you in that scenario. The Celtics. No Tristan Thompson. He's in the health and safety protocols. So they decided to start Semi Ojeleye. So they didn't go to Marcus Smart, who must still be dealing with some sort of minutes restriction. Ojeleye went scoreless in 19 minutes. That was never going to be good for anybody. While Kemba Walker had 16, 2, and 5 with 2 steals. Good game for Kemba in 34 minutes, but remember, he's probably going to sit Wednesday, given it's a back-to-back. Jaylen Brown, great to see the field goals back up. 28, 5, and 7, 2 steals and a block. That's awesome. While Tatum had 29, 6, and 3 with 3 steals and 4 triples. And with Thompson out, we got 26 minutes of Daniel Tice and 26 minutes of the Rock DJ. Tice had 15, 11, and 6. Great numbers. Short-term, 12-team value for sure. Rob Williams, the Rock DJ, only 22 minutes, but 14 and 9 and 2 blocks. Absolutely 100% a must-roster player. He is, in 20 minutes a night, the 34th ranked player over the last 2 weeks. 30 fantasy points there for Williams as well. He's going to continue, hopefully, to get 20-plus minutes every game here while Thompson's out, and hopefully we can get him to stick over 20 minutes. But he is a guaranteed must-roster player, and I'm not saying he's going to remain a guaranteed top 70 guy or anything like that, or even whatever he is now, top 40. That's probably not likely, but he is a must-roster player. Marcus Smart struggled. I'm still holding Marcus Smart. I'm buying very low, 5 and 4 with a 3 in 25 minutes. He is obviously better than that. And I'll tell you what, Jeff Teague is not better than that. Jeff Teague is not good. 9 minutes, 0 points. I hope they don't start him. I hope they put Marcus Smart in to start in place of Kemba. Teague should literally not be in the rotation at all, but name brand value It means a lot to NBA coaches. And again, it's another questionable rotation decision that Brad Stevens has made this season. And I've been pretty critical of Stevens at times this year, and that's another one of those where I am critical of him. Let's move on to the next game, and holy shit, the C-parter, Moses Brown, 30 minutes, 20 points, 16 boards, 5 blocks. You got to add him. Now, there was no Al Horford, Darius Bazley. They're the two major ones that impact him in this one. No Lou Dort. That doesn't really impact that much. But Horford's going to miss time. He's going to miss every back-to-back or one game of every back-to-back and some other rest thrown in there. He might get a fake injury. He might get a real injury. I don't think he's traded. But Brown is going to get, you would think, 17 minutes a night minimum, and then push up to 28, 29 minutes a night on games where Horford is out. He's a must-roster player. You got to add him and see where it goes. Isaiah Roby was good as well. And this is part of the issue, though, is trying to figure out Moses Brown, Isaiah Roby, Alexei Pokusevski, Darius Bazley, Al Horford. How the hell do they all fit into the mix with minutes? Now, Poku can play the 3. Bazley is probably better as a 3. He can play the 3. But then you've got, where does Dort fit? Now, Dort can move down to the 2, and that's where Shea plays. And where does Shea move? Down to the 1. But Maladon and Jerome are playing well. So, despite this team being terrible, there's a lot of guys they need to give minutes to. And that is the concern with Roby. Now, on days like this, you add Roby and you enjoy it. 11 and 5, 2 steals and 2 blocks, much like you do with Moses Brown. But there will be some down performances from Brown and from Roby for sure. And we saw a down performance from Pokusevski, who had 4 points in 29 minutes on 22% shooting. Now, I still like Poku quite a bit. I don't know why I call him Poku quite a bit, Pokusevski. I would have Brown over him in a 12-team league, but yeah, Pokusevski still can be a back-end 12-team league guy, but he's probably more 14 to 16 at this stage. Shea had 21 points, only 1 rebound and 1 assist is pretty disappointing, while the Oklahoma City mudflap, Kenrich Williams, he was excellent in this game, I thought. 14, 5, and 4 in 24 minutes. But there is a real risk that he's not in the rotation when Horford, Bazley, and Dort all return, and even getting Svi into that rotation, who didn't play today. There's a chance that Williams doesn't play for this team. I liked what I saw from Ty Jerome, 11 points, 3 assists, a steal, and a block, 29 minutes, while the Salt Flake Theo Maledon had 8 points in 32 minutes. Maledon is a drop in 12s and probably 14-team leagues. Jerome is a watch in 12-team leagues and 14-team leagues. He's a nice deeper league add. Justin Jackson remains one of the worst rotation players in the NBA, and he definitely won't have minutes when everyone returns. For the Bulls, they changed the starting lineup at second half. Wendell Carter Jr. started over Thad Young. He played 13 second half minutes, Carter. In fact, closer to 14 minutes, 9 and 9. So I want to hold because I want to see what the Bulls do next game. Now, Thad Young did what he's been doing all year. 22 minutes, but ridiculous numbers. 17, 9, and 6 with 2 steals on 27 usage. I never thought I'd see a high-ass usage Thad Young who passes. That is just not what we've seen literally ever from Thad Young, but he's been great, so don't drop him. LaVine had 40 points in 31 minutes. He was amazing. Well, Tomas Satoransky, 31 minutes, 13, 2, and 7, 3 steals. I hereby anoint... I'll try again. Why can't I speak? What's wrong with my voice? I hereby anoint Tomas Satoransky a must-roster player. I need like some sort of sound drop for that. Yeah, you got to add Satoransky at this stage and just see where it goes because he is actually good and those numbers are good. Lauri Markkanen, I think is a massive sell high for Markkanen. 22 points, 3 threes, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks. And someone put a comment on the Basketball Monster page about Markkanen. You got to update his projection. So I went in to have a look. He's shooting 41% from 3 and 64% on 2s. Now, he shot 34 from 3 last year, 36 in his first 2 years. His 2-pointers were at like 51, 52%. So unless he's just had this massive, massive shooting improvement, he is riding a hot streak. It's 18 games, so it's not huge. He is riding a massive hot streak, and it could fall off. Now, people really buy into Markkanen. I love him. He's a shooter. Ryan Anderson, Dirk Nowitzki, all the great white shooters. And he can be a great option, but he offers very little else. He did block 2 shots here. But I just worry that there is a fall-off coming in some degree with some of this shooting. Kobe White, yeah.
Get that garbage out of here!
Kobe White wowed us with like 4 weeks of good action last year. And I thought, yeah, look, he's a worthy draft guy. I have some concerns about his efficiency, but he's going to play a ton of minutes and get a ton of usage. Even though I stressed ad nauseum that I don't believe that he's a starting NBA point guard. Well, he's been much worse than I anticipated, and he's back to what he was like at the start of last year. 4 points, 3 assists, 2 steals, 29% shooting. If he's going to get 27, 28 minutes instead of 33 minutes, you can't bother with that in 12-team leagues. You can't. He's 125th ranked player. in 33 minutes, and it's going down, and he's yelling timber. I reckon you can get rid of him. While Patrick Williams, the inconsistency in this bloke, 2 points, 11%. He's a rookie. I understand that. He's very young, but this is why we can't look at him, even when he has those big games, as a must-roster 12-team league player. He's very, very far from that. He's more must-roster 16-team with maybe some 14-team just salt bait on top of that. Otto Porter, please. No one has him in 12-team leagues. Surely. Yeah, Otto Porter.
Get that garbage out of here!
Which is sad because I like Otto Porter, but he has not been good for a little bit of time here. Guys, Locker Room. I'm joining it. You should too. Locker Room is the audio-only sports talk platform. It's free to download and use, and you can talk to me, other fans, athletes, and insiders in real time. It's perfect for watch parties, debates, post-game breakdowns, whatever. So we're doing this right across the Locked On Podcast Network. It's a free audio-only social media platform for sports fans. Once a week, I'm going to do a Locker Room show. You can get in there, get up on stage, chat to me as well. At this point, we'll probably schedule them for Friday afternoons. I will tweet out details about that, but go and follow me at JoshLloyd48 on Locker Room, and then you'll get notifications when I do go live over there. So you can join in that conversation with me, and you can have a chance to be featured in my Locker Room shows. Get up and have a chat to me. Talk to other sports fans over there as well. You can start conversations. You can join ongoing conversations, watch games together. Go over there. Friday afternoons is the plan for Locked On Fantasy Basketball over on Locker Room. Now, all you need to do is download the Locker Room app. It's free in the iOS App Store. Create a profile, link to your Twitter, and join the Locked On Fantasy group. You'll find me over there. I haven't created that group yet, but it will be there soon. Follow me at JoshLloyd48 to be notified when that room goes live. And then when we go live on Friday afternoons, you can come in, bring your spiciest takes, and chat to me over on Locker Room. So that's Locker Room, and follow me, JoshLloyd48. Guys, Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. These tablets, Blue Chew's tablets, they combat all forms of erectile dysfunction, and they can help men gain extra confidence for when it's time to perform. The process is simple. You sign up at bluechew.com and you consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. Blue Chew's sildenafil and tadalafil tablets are chewable, much easier to take than swallowing a tablet. Blue Chew's chewable tablets are made in the USA, and they prepare and ship direct, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy. Guys, I am a pharmacist, so I can tell you that sildenafil and tadalafil, they work fantastically well for ED. Unbelievable results. And Blue Chew is going to be able to get these two at a fraction of the cost. So we've got a special deal for all listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com. The promo code is LOCKEDON to receive your first month free. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. All right. Let's move on to the next game. We've got the Atlanta Hawks and the Houston Rockets. No Clint Capella, DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, Onyeka Okongwu, although amazingly, Hunter looks like he's going to return later this week, which is really, really stunning to me. Reddish is still out for multiple weeks. But again, the Italian cock, Danilo Gallinari.
Hands off my cock!
Actually, you know what? Hands on his cock, because he's going off. 34 minutes, 29 points, 5 triples, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block. Of course, hands on his cock with consent. But Nate McMillan loves this bloke. The absence of Capella is helping him. He's a must-add. He is, hold on to your own dicks, if you have them, the 25th ranked player in the last 2 weeks. What's going on? It is helping the Capellas out, but he was cutting into Collins' playing time. He is a guy to grab. As for the Baptist, 20 and 10, 4 blocks. That's a great game from John Collins. But again, his big games tend to come when he plays at center. We have seen this time and time again. And Capella and Okongwu were out, so every minute came at center, pretty much. Big numbers. Now, is that a sell high moment for Collins? Maybe. But what if he gets traded to another team that needs him to play good minutes at center? So while it could be a sell high if you get blown away, otherwise it's just a hold to see what happens. Tone Snell, 15 points with 5 threes, while Fanapants Kevin Huerter did have to go to the locker room but came back, had 16, 5 and 3 with 3 steals and 3 threes. He is a 12-team league guy, but I'm sorry to report that Bogdan Bogdanovic isn't. 7 points in 20 minutes for Bogdan, 2 assists. I know he's still getting back from injury, but I just don't see it. I don't see him being a must-roster guy. Nathan Knight, the big fella. Love what he's bringing. 15 and 3, 22 minutes, a great deep league ad. Even like, say, 16-teamers, while Clint Capella, shit. Even as a absolute stretch in a 12-team league, if you stream Nathan Knight in on the nights that Capella's out, I don't think you'd be disappointed. 15-3 with 1-3 and 1 block. Trae Young had 13-3 and 14. I think he had 10-10 in the first half. So it went easy there. Now let's go on to the Rockets. Victor Oladipo played 41 minutes, had 34 points with 5 assists, and amazingly shot 65%. A huge game from Oladipo. That's awesome. 41 fantasy points. Kevin Porter played 41 minutes, had 22, 4 and 8, and guys, he had a Richie Beno.
2 for 2.
He is really stuffing the stat sheet. He's the 43rd ranked player so far this season. There's been a lot of things working in his favor. No Wall, no Wood, no Gordon, no House, no Tucker in pretty much any game that he's played, and no Oladipo in some of them too. But he is still putting up really good numbers. He's had one bad one in there, but this was excellent. He is obviously a must-roster player. I didn't think he'd be this good. Easily for me to admit that. I got no problem saying I didn't expect him to be this good. I also didn't expect every friggin' domino to fall all at the one time for him to come in and play 41 minutes in a game. His fourth game of the season or whatever it was. I didn't expect that to happen. But big numbers for Kevin Porter. Well, Kenyon Martin Jr., not great, but 34 minutes, 7 and 5, 2 blocks. I still think he can be worthy of a 12-team spot. I'd probably rather Moses Brown, but there's going to be paths opening up for Kenyon to play big minutes. The wild thing, Jayshawn Tate was excellent. Now, he had been trending down a little bit, but 25, 6 and 6, 4 threes, a steal and a block. He is a 12-team league option, I think, with how he's playing. And again, it helps with so many guys out. The general Justin Patton struggled. They went small a lot, 2 and 4 in 18 minutes. He's going to lose every single bit of his value when Christian Wood returns. So he's a clear, I think, 12-team league drop, despite being a top 100 player over the last 2 weeks, because he's just not going to get those minutes. Mason Jones chipped in 9 points in 17, while Sterling Brown, 11 boards. But what Brown is he's a threes and steals guy. Watch to see what his role looks like. It could be really strong on this team. But again, Wall, Wood, House, all got to come back, and they're going to eat into these guys' time. It's going to eat into Patton's time. Anthony Lamb will get out of the rotation. Brown will lose a bit. Martin will lose a bit. Porter and Tate lose a bit in terms of usage and minutes as well. Brown had 2 steals, 2 threes, 11 boards in this game. Really strong numbers. He's more of a 16 to 14 team league player than an absolute must roster guy. But really, again, good numbers from him in this matchup. Let's move on to the next one. It is the New York Knickerbockers going down to the Sixers, 99-96. Nerlens Noel, 26 minutes, 6 and 8, 1 steal, 4 blocks. Very hard to understand what's going to happen with him on a game-to-game basis. I think you just have to hold until Mitch Robinson comes back, but it's good to see him play the 26, while Taj Gibson played just the 20 minutes. I think that if you do want to take a flyer on a Moses Brown, say, and if you want to drop Noel, I think that I could get behind that. The double royal, Julius Randle. 19 and 15 with 8 assists. Inefficient, very inefficient in fact, but good numbers nonetheless. While Emmanuel quickly, 26 minutes as the starter, did seem to have some injury issues with his groin/hip. 13, 1 and 3. Again, I would really attempt to sell high in a Dynasty League. I'm not as high on him as others are. And what happens when Peyton and Rose return in terms of his role is very much up in the air. So here's a 12-team hold for now. I'm not convinced that it lasts. Rowan Barrett Jr., after I praised him on the Sell High show today saying he'd improved his shooting, he went out and shot 41 from the field and 43 from the line. In fact, I think I said this exact thing, saying he's been so inconsistent and he's shooting so unbelievably well, he's going to go through a stage where he shoots 18% from 3. I think I said something along those lines. Well, in fact, he went 0 of 1 from 3, hit 44% of his 2s and butchered his free throws. So just back to the old stuff. And this is, again, what I stress so much with Barrett is when 2 of his best 3 fantasy categories over the last month were field goal and free throw percentage, areas where he's notoriously been horrible. Brace yourself for a drop-off. He played a lot of minutes, and 17 and 8 is nice, but that hurts. Those free throws especially, they really do hurt, and we saw that there. Well, Obi Toppin just clinging to life with 7 minutes. He is, how harsh do I want to be? He's not good. Maybe he's going to become good, but he is not good at this point. The Philadelphia 76ers side of things. The thick hogsman, Tobias Harris.
I think I am a TH.
T to the H.
Yeah, TH for life.
Excellent. 30 points, 4 threes, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Great stuff. Seth Curry, another big game. Seth, with Embiid out, is rolling 20 points and 4 threes. While Dwight Howard, really nice stuff from Dwight. Of course, you've got to deal with the bullshit with his free throws, but 11 and 12 with 3 blocks is solid. While Tone Bradley, just the 7 rebounds. I think Howard is going to be the option there over Bradley. Thibault, the painter, 1 steal, 3 blocks. Only 18 minutes, but just continuing to bring defensive brilliance pretty much every game that he's out there. While Shake Milton, man, he's actual trash. And maybe that's harsh on the bloke, but man, he is struggling. 2 points in 19 minutes. Mate, give all his minutes to Tyrese Maxey. Maxey is a better player, or will be a better player than him real quick. Not liking what I'm seeing from him. Dan Green dropped in 4 steals and a block. Him and Thibault combined for 5 steals and 4 blocks as guards. That's some pretty wild shit from those two. All right, Built Bar. It's back. Yes, Built Bar, the best tasting protein bar. You know that we've been telling you about Built Bar for ages. Well, I've been telling you about Built Bar for ages. It is the best tasting protein bar you can find. Here's my Built Bar, my favorite, the coconut bar. And now, because we're in March, it is time for Built Bar Madness. These are the amazing low-calorie, low-sugar, high-protein, high-fiber, amazing tasting protein bars with 100% chocolate on all bars. And now is the time to find out which Built Bar is the best. Today's matchup is coconut almond versus peanut butter brownie. I have to go with coconut almond there. I cannot live with myself if I don't. So go to builtbar.com/pages/brackets to vote, or go to bar_built on Twitter. Remember, you can use your promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your next order. That is LOCKED15 to get 15% off your next order at builtbar.com, and check back to see who won today's matchup and who will become the best tasting protein bar. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Football might be over, but the NBA, college basketball, and the NHL are in full swing. BetOnline even covers awards, TV shows, and reality TV. Real-time updated odds and props on almost anything you can imagine. BetOnline has you covered for all of the news, scores, and odds, and it's the best way to place your bets, and it's free to sign up. Head to betonline.ag or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit by using our promo code LOCKEDON. BetOnline are your online sportsbook experts. All right, next game. Let's take a squiz at that one. We are looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers going down to the Miami Heat, 113-98. Larry Nance Jr., better game from him. 38 minutes without Kevin Love, 14-9-4 with a 1-1. It remains a 12-team league guy. And Jarrett Allen, he struggles really. He's struggling a lot at the moment. 8-10 in 27 minutes, while the Padawan Colin Sexton, it was bad Colin Sexton. 21 points is nice, but 1 rebound. 3 assists, 41%. That's not great. Well, Darius Garland struggled with the shot, 11-1-3. I am still holding Garland. Many of you will want to drop. I am still holding him. Isaac Okoro had 10 points, which is one of his better offensive outings, but very little else there. While Chetty Osman, the discman, had 8, 3, and 7 assists with 2 steals. So pretty good night overall from Osman. Big game from JaVale McGee too. 16-18 with 1 steal and 2 blocks. I do not expect JaVale McGee to be on this team in 2 weeks' time. For the Heat, they welcomed back Bam Adebayo, 14-9-6 in 30 minutes with 2 blocks, but very interestingly, now Bam only played 30 minutes, but Kelly Olynyk played 35, 17-8, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. You have to add Kelly Olynyk. If you haven't, now you probably should have added him to run through the Bam Adebayo scenario when Adebayo was out, but he played 35 with Bam back. You got to add him, and then we've got to see what happens when it falls off. But now I told you to hold on to your dicks before. I don't even know what to tell you to hold on to now. Kelly Olynyk in the last 2 weeks is the 12th ranked player. Yeah, got to add him. Dunk Robinson hit 4 threes. Nice 3-point streamer. While Kendrick Nunn.
Get that garbage out of here!
Now, when I use that drop, I'm not saying the players are garbage, except in this one specific case, because Kendrick Nunn is garbage. Get him out of here. 10 points, 5 rebounds in those 24 minutes. He can be dropped in 12 and 14 team leagues, while Tyler Hero stunk. 15 points in 31 minutes, 32 minutes, in fact, on 31% shooting. Not much else there. I am still barely holding Hero in 12 team leagues, but I'm not feeling super confident about it. Interestingly, KZ Okpala played 24 minutes and Andre Iguodala played 9. Now, that's probably because it was a back-to-back, but it's interesting to note nonetheless. Precious Achiuwa out of the rotation, and with Olynyk playing these minutes, I think they'll just go with Adebayo and Olynyk playing all the center minutes. And Precious, who started out the season so well, and not someone I was super high on heading into the draft, I think, it appears that the Heat are souring a little bit on where he sits in his development. Well, on to the next game. Yeah, mate, how did the Pelicans lose this? They were up 17 with about 5 minutes left, and they fouled Damian Lillard with about 2 seconds left, sending him to the line. And he wins it on some free throws. Wow. Eric Bledsoe with a foul. Lillard gets 50 points. Just, I don't know how. I don't know how it happened. How did they lose that game? That was some absolute wildness to see that final score. Craziness. Zion Williamson for the Pelicans. 30 points, 8 assists, 6 of 6 from the line, 67 from the field. Unstoppable. Lonzo Ball, 11 points, 18 assists and 2 steals, really good. But I think we've got to talk about Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who had another big game. 20 points, 6 triples, 5 rebounds. Now, he is a little bit of the empty scorer type. The steals, a block, 5 rebounds, nice. He's not an assist guy, obviously. 54% shooting. He's a high usage player. He's playing better than Eric Bledsoe. Could he start at some point? I don't know. He's at least a 14-team league watch or add. Wouldn't do it in 12s just yet, but this was good. Josh the Hitman Hart had 16 and 9. He's fine for 12s, while Brandon Ingram, disappointingly 7 of 10 from the line, but still 30 and 6 with 3 threes is pretty good. Steven Adams, you can drop him.
Get that garbage out of here!
4 points in 25 minutes, and Bledsoe, let's do the same. Oh, where's my button? I've lost it already.
Get that garbage out of here!
Bledsoe had 11 and 4 in 27 minutes, including that foul to lose the game. I'm disappointed in only 9 minutes for Kyra Lewis, while Jackson Hayes, who'd been playing well, didn't do too much here. 4 points in 19 minutes, but just an unbelievable meltdown for the Pelicans to lose that game, 124-125. You couldn't believe that could happen, realistically. Pelicans games are wild. On to the Blazers. Lillard had 50 points in 41 minutes with 6 threes and 10 assists on 65% shooting and 18 of 18 from the line. That is just a ridiculous performance. While Gary Trent Jr.
Nice, Gary!
22 points in 32 minutes with 3 threes and 2 steals. Now, Trent is outside the top 170 this year. He's played 31 minutes a night and started a bunch of games without CJ McCollum, but this was great from him. Now, he has been a droppable player. If you've still got him, you try and trade for any top 100 guy you can. Anything. Because this is a fluky performance. 7 of 7 from the line, he doesn't do. 2 steals, not likely. 60% shooting, get out of here. And of course, he had 3 rebounds and 1 assist. So you try and trade after this. Covington had the 3 steals and 2 blocks with 3 threes. He was on my sell high video. He's the 14th ranked player over the last 2 weeks. Nurkic returning is going to drop the block upside there. While CJ McCollum, I buried the lead a bit. He returned. Now, he was understandably rusty. 26 minutes only, 10 points, 27% shooting. Now, I have been at pains to say I don't think he'll be as good as he was to begin the year. Now, that doesn't mean that this is what we expect, 27% shooting. 10, 4, and 2. So just got to have some patience with him. He blocked a shot. He had 2 threes, but it's just good to see him back out there. Derek Jones Jr., only 18 minutes. He is going to lose playing time with CJ coming back. I could see them going with CJ and Gary Trent a lot, and Jones losing a ton. 10 points with 2 threes, 100% shooting, but no rebounds, no assists, no steals, and no blocks. Shout out to Tony Snell. Nasir Little playing over Rodney Hood. 18 minutes for Nasir, while just 11 minutes for Rocket, while Anthony Simons out of the rotation again. He had that little burst where he played well, and then he's completely dropped off, while Rodney Hood has been an absolute shell of himself returning from the Achilles injury. All right, now on to the last game of the day. The Timberwolves go down to the Lakers 121-137. Big game from Karl Anthony Towns. 35 minutes, 33 usage, which is awesome. 29, 6, and 7 assists. 1 steal and 2 blocks. I had hopes of these games more often under Chris Finch. This is impressive. He's had a couple of struggles. This is really good. If you are one of those people who's worried about a shutdown, I'm not as worried about that as everyone would know. I do think there is a chance that his wrist could require some more issues or some more surgery. I think that is a real issue when we get to May. But this is the game that you sell high on after. Ravishing Rick Rubio, 19, 12 assists, 3 steals, 73% shooting. No McLaughlin, no Russell. Great game from him. He won't remain must-roster, but for now he is. While Jalen Noel, another really strong night. 78th ranked player over the last 2 weeks, 13 points in 28 minutes, 2 blocks. He does have some short-term value, especially as a streamer, and you can even use him as a 12-team league guy. Tone Edwards, Goose, 38 minutes, 29 points for Anthony Edwards. Not a lot else there, but 50% shooting is excellent on 22 attempts. 4 of 6 from the line doesn't really cut it, and there's a few issues with the peripheral stats, but really good stuff from Goose, who is now a top 50 player over the last 2 weeks, really rolling. I still think he's a bit of a sell high because usage will come down when Beasley and Russell return. It has to, but for now, he's putting up big numbers. Now, the fact that they've introduced Juancho Hernan-Gomez into the power forwards mix is really nuking any value for Jared Vanderbilt and for Jaden McDaniels. 23 minutes for McDaniels for 5 points. Vanderbilt 8 and 5 in 20 minutes and 5 points for Hernan-Gomez in 20. It's also meaning Jake Layman has lost a ton of value, 4 points in 16 minutes. He's still blocked 2 shots, but he's only a very, very, very deep league guy, while Josh Okogie continues to suck. He is actually really bad. For the Lakers,
LeBron James.
25, 12, and 12 on a back-to-back for LeBron. He was excellent. While the table, Montrezl Harrell was on my sell high show today. 25, 4, and 6 with a steal and a block. 69% from the field.
Giggity.
No Gasol. Now, Davis isn't coming back for a long time, but Gasol is the one that's the impact for me because we saw them playing 24 minutes each when Gasol was healthy. So if you can get a top 50 guy back from Harrell, and he is top 40 over the last 2 weeks, you do it. Big game from Taylor Horton-Tucker. I do like his dynasty upside. Hard to see him maintaining 12-team type value, but top 150 over the last 2 weeks. 16, 7, and 4 can be a stream option. Schroeder had 16 with 7 assists, while Damian Jones had 8 points in 17 minutes. He won't last in the rotation. Markieff Morris had 12 and 7, and the future MVP, Kyle Kuzma, 16 points in 26 minutes. Someone asked me to explain what the genesis of the future MVP nickname was. It was after his summer league and preseason, in the first 4 weeks or so of his NBA career, everyone was talking about how unbelievable he was, and I was saying, guys, he's never going to shoot this well. He's never going to be this good as he is in this time period. And people were, no, man, Josh, you're wrong. Look how the Lakers unearthed the stud. He's going to be awesome. He's going to be a future MVP. And that's what I said. All right, cool. He's the future MVP now. Obviously, that isn't the case, and that's why I use that sarcastically. Not much else to really talk about, I think, from this game. Just a pretty comfortable win in the end for the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's look at the top ads over the last 24 hours. Pokusevski up 28%. I can see people dropping him after today, especially if Baisley and Horford return. But yeah, it was worth adding. Moses Brown up 16%. He's going to go up again. He is a guy that I would add in all 12-team leagues. And same with Tomas Satoransky up 16%. Add him in 12s as well. Emmanuel Quickly up 14%. Not really sure where this is going to go. He was a bit disappointing. I would hold, but he is going to be a pretty quick drop once we see what happens next game. And then Kenyon Martin Jr. up 11%. I am still holding him in 12-team leagues for now. In terms of drops, TJ McConnell down 13%, makes sense. Kendrick Nunn down 9%, of course. Derek Jones Jr. down 8%, clear drop. Maxi Kleber down 7%, yeah, I'm still holding in 12-team leagues. And Carter Williams down 7%. I'm still not as ready to jump off of Carter Williams. Yes, I know the percentages can be an issue, but Cole Anthony's not coming back in a hurry. I don't know when the hell Evan Fournier is returning. Carter Williams is going to get a lot of minutes. So I'm still holding him in a lot of cases. Your monstrous line of the night was Damian Lillard, and your rookie of the night was Jayshawn Tate, the wild thing, who is actually a top 90 player over the last month. Tate, some really good numbers, fueled by some good field goal percentage, but it's realistically what's happened to him recently is steals have spiked. 1.7 steals over the last 12 games, which have pushed him into that top 90. And then if we go and have a look at the top 10 players rostered in 50% of leagues or less in our advanced metric, Moses Brown, talked about him as a must-roster. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he's a watch guy, a 14-team league ad. JaVale McGee, not interested. Tony Snell, not really interested. Isaiah Roby, 12 to 14-team league guy. Number 6 is the Oklahoma City Mudflap, Kenrich Williams, who was really good today, but I don't really know what we see from him moving forward. 7 is Sterling Brown, who's going to have some real value on Wednesday as well. Number 8, Reggie Bullock, who's rostered nowhere. I think he can help people in 14 or 16-team leagues. Number 9, Jalen Noel, who I just touched on, has some value as a point streamer. And then 10, Taylor Horton-Tucker, who, again, you can stream in this short term because he's putting up some really good numbers. Let's now flick across and have a look at DFS Wednesday. We've got 10 games on. All right, so we've got a busy Wednesday here in the NBA with 10 games on. First game is the Nets and the Pacers. The Nets are 3.5-point favorites here, and the total's 232. Jeremy Lamb is questionable once again for Indiana, while Blake Griffin and Kevin Durant will be out. Milwaukee and Philadelphia, it is a back-to-back for the Sixers here, so Joel Embiid obviously remains out. No other news and any other rests or anything like that, while Milwaukee is pretty clear in terms of injuries. The Kings and the Wizards are 3-point favorites. The total's 245.5. An absolute monster total in this one. The Kings, obviously no Marvin Bagley, while Hassan Whiteside is questionable, so it could be huge minutes for Rashawn Holmes. Remember, Chimezie Meto is also out. The Wizards, no Ish Smith, but Davis Bertans is probable, and Hal Neto is questionable in that one. The Raptors and the Pistons, big changes here. The Raptors will be welcoming back Pascal Siakam, most likely. He is questionable. Fred VanVleet is doubtful, and OG Anunoby is out with the COVID returns there. For Detroit, Dennis Smith, he's questionable coming out of protocol, so how he works in terms of Delon Wright remains to be seen, but Wayne Ellington's not there, and Rodney McGruder has also popped up as questionable, so we could get a lot of Wright and Smith combinations in that backcourt. The Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers back-to-back for both of these teams. Now, I don't expect to see Kevin Love here for Cleveland. I also don't expect to see Kemba Walker playing for Boston. So do we get Jeff Teague starting, or do they go with Peyton Pritchard? Or do they start Marcus Smart there? There is no Tristan Thompson, most likely, as well, as he's dealing with the health and safety protocols, while Taurean Prince at this stage is questionable. Warriors and Rockets. The Warriors, they're fine in terms of injuries. The Rockets, well, Victor Oladipo's not going to play. John Wall's not going to play, but we could get House and Wood returning. We also might get McLemore. There's also Rowdy Rodions Kurucs who could come in. They need one of those four, House, Wood, Kurucs, and McLemore, to play. Otherwise, they will not have 8 healthy players, and they will have to forfeit the game. Or get it postponed, or whatever it is the NBA is doing these days. But considering none of them are COVID, they're all injury related, could it be a forfeit scenario? I don't know what they do in that spot, but one of House, Wood, Kurucs, and McLemore needs to be active for this game to go ahead. Keep an eye on that. But it means we know Oladipo, no Wall. You're going to have big Kevin Porter stuff. How Wood goes. Now, Wood will be on a minutes restriction when he comes back, so watch that as well. How that affects Patton and Kenyon Martin and Jayshawn Tate remains to be seen. Even the return of Daniel House in that scenario. The Spurs and the Bulls, DeMar DeRozan's out for San Antonio, so is Keita Bates-Diop. While for the Bulls, they're okay in terms of injuries too, except for Garrett Temple. The Hornets and the Nuggets, no Gary Harris, no Monty Morris for Denver, so Barton, Porter, they will start alongside Paul Millsap and Jokic and Murray, of course. While the Hornets, no injuries to be concerned about there. The Heat and the Grizzlies, Bam Adebayo return today. The Heat are 2-point favorites in their back-to-back here. 221 is the total. We don't know about Avery Bradley, where he sits. While for the Grizzlies, I do expect a rotation change or a lineup change. I expect Allen to start for Bane, but I don't know that yet. And then the last game is the Clippers and the Mavericks. Serge Ibaka missed last game. He's questionable. Of course, if he is out, we're loading up on Ivica Zubac. And then Dwight Powell missed last game for Dallas. He's questionable with an illness. The Clippers are 2.5-point favorites. The total is 227. Now, if we look on FanDuel at where the value lies, you have to love Karis LeVert at 4,400. Immense value. I like Wiseman. I like Tony Bradley. I like DeAndre Jordan a little bit. I like Thomas Satoransky a ton. Joe Harris is not bad value at 3,800. I like Daniel Tice, Derek White, Marcus Morris, who starts again for the Clippers, Drew Holiday, Jakob Poeltl, Isaiah Stewart, Andrew Wiggins, Delon Wright, Miles Turner, Kevin Porter, Thad Young, Will Barton, Michael Porter, and Richaun Holmes. There's some good FanDuel values there. Guys, don't forget to subscribe Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on YouTube. Give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, ring the little ding-a-ling bell so that you always see when a video comes out. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.